I'm a CPA by trade, so I always look at the bottom line, right? So it's like living your life. If you live with your life with too much debt, you become very unstable, right? You got your Lamborghini, you got your $1 million house, you lose your job, you become unstable quickly. So these, I probably shouldn't name any firms, but they're all out there. USAP is one of them. They became highly leveraged, right? So we're not talking millions, we're talking billions with a B, right? So when you're billions in debt and the market shifts, a lot of hospitals are saying, geez, I've been paying $1,000 a day. I always use the example. I'm not a car guy, but if I could pay $20 a day and drive a Lamborghini, I'd probably do it, right? Like you'll just keep renting it for $20 a day. But when it becomes $1,000 a day, I might as well just buy the Lamborghini, right? And I think that's what health systems looked at is they kept seeing their subsidies going up and up and up and up. And they said, well, heck with it. We're just going to employ everybody because if we're paying all this money, we might as well control it. So now these staffing firms that are highly leveraged have a smaller pool of clients to spread that debt service over, right? So they got to raise their profit margin to cover the debt service. Hospitals say, okay, you're going to raise your rate. We're going to employ them then. So they're trying to support that debt from a smaller core business. And a lot of these private equity firms or these staffing companies, the nationals, have laid everybody off. They're running on a skeleton crew because they don't have enough revenue to keep the wheels of the business
Well,
going.
this is the fundamental challenge of the short-term private equity. And I'll distinguish the Warren Buffett firms of the world, the Cranemers of the world, versus the soulless private equity companies that bought up Red Lobster, that bought up the health system right outside of Philadelphia, Crozier, right? You buy it with borrowed money, right? You obtain the asset, then you own it, and you put all the debt on those books. And that asset, that service, that company does very poorly, and then you jettison it, right? You put it in the bankruptcy. And not my area of expertise per se, but I think that is why at a broad level, we've seen such a negative social reaction towards all these private equity companies. And it does not, we all speak around the country, right? And one thing that I share with, companies at the smaller end, which I'll say 500 and below, right? Which is if you want to generate a margin, a profit margin in any service sector business, whether it's plumbing or neurosurgery, you should expect between 6 to 15% for your time in trouble. And if that matches what you would get in the stock market, that's probably for a reason. Markets tend to consolidate like that. The issue with private equity is when you drive it so far up and bring things so out of balance, there's a natural resentment towards that. And now we're seeing the system correct, right? I mean, this is why the FTC exists. I am surprised they kept going. When Lisa Khan, who was the Biden FTC chair, when she left, she was much more aggressive on these issues. And I'm surprised it kept going as well.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, the way I see this is, and I don't think I'm going to offend anyone if I say this, is these big healthcare companies the government has the most resources than anybody, right? But these healthcare companies are probably one notch below that, right? So uh, the staffing companies, before the No Surprises Act, they could leverage the healthcare companies by going out of network and driving up reimbursements. As soon as the NSA was passed, now the health insurance companies are using that to put a squeeze back on providers, right? So they went out and cut reimbursements, right? So salaries are going up 7% every 6 months for CRNAs. That's what I heard last year at the ASA, right? So 7% every 16 months is 15% a year. These health insurance companies cut reimbursements at the same time, which created this that basically I think they want to drive them out of business, right? We'll just keep lowering the rates. Well, now the
Of course.
IDR's swinging back and they're winning again. And now we're going to get the FTC involved and everything else. So you have two Goliaths that are meaning industries, two industry Goliaths, the health insurance company and private equity. They're battling through the media, through legislation, through everything else, trying to get their agenda passed, if that makes sense. So it's going to be a mess for a little while until this all settles out.